What is up, everybody? We are back here for another episode of Armbars and Suplexes. I'm back. We're all back. You can catch me on Twitter at AlecMiller0423. God damn it, right there. I got my partner here with me. I'm not gonna say co-host anymore. I'm gonna say partner from now on. My partner right here, Jesus. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, man? You can catch me at the Real Jesus on Twitter. That's spelled JEEZUS. As always, under this quarantine time, under non-quarantine, I'm on there.
Yes. So, not a lot going on in the world of sports. No, I'm at least in the world of MMA, wrestling. The big news really is that WrestleMania will be taking place on the day that it's supposed to be taking place, which is in April, but it is going to be taking place inside the Performance Center in Orlando, Florida, in an empty arena, and it's going to take place over 2 nights. That's really the big news. 2 nights, WrestleMania. We'll see how it goes. I've told some people that have been hitting me up, have you been watching SmackDown? I haven't been watching any wrestling. I'm so checked out in terms of wrestling, I guess. I just don't care. There's too much craziness going on in the world right now where I'm just not interested in wrestling right now. I know it's kind of weird to say on a wrestling podcast, but it's just one of those things where there's other things. I'm not even paying attention to AEW, not even really NXT. It's weird how you can just kind of check that. How I'm just kind of checked out in terms of wrestling. The only thing that got me through this week was the free agency in terms of NFL. That's what I was most looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
Like always.
The free agency was very interesting to me. I don't want to go into it right now. I mean, unless you want to.
We'll get into it later.
Yeah, we'll get into it later. But yeah, I mean, the wrestling, the thing, and it's funny because it's kind of counter to what you said. For me, I've actually kind of been interested in it because I've been seeing these spots where there's no fans, and they're and I think they're funny. Some of them are funny, some of them are real interesting, and some of them they look like plays almost,
Yeah.
Like the one with who was it, John Cena and Bray Wyatt, I think it was. Mm-hmm. That one was legit.
Actually, a good segment.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I haven't always been into it, a lot or as much as you, but recently, with this stuff going on, I'm kind of curious to see how every, sport or sports entertainment in this case handles it and is handling it, and that was just interesting to me. I was like, man, how do you do? I think wrestling is one of the pieces of entertainment, that sports entertainment that requires a crowd. That you need a crowd. You need a crowd, and you can kind of see it there. It's different. I wouldn't want to say it's bad. I don't think it's bad. I think it's different. But I also think that the product with the crowd is obviously 10 times better because, you get to hear the pop of a crowd. You get to hear the boo. You get to hear the interaction, the awe, and if they do something or they say something, and you just don't get that without the crowd. So it was very interesting, man. And I was curious to see how that played out. And I was actually one that wanted to see a basketball game without a crowd. I kind of wanted to see how that went. If they were going to let up and it was going to be more like a scrimmage.
Too much cursing.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to hear everything. And I think that would have brought an extra element to it because we don't get to hear them calling out switches. We don't get to hear them calling out picks. We don't get to hear them calling out, I got my man or somebody get back or whatever. We don't get to hear that because it's so loud. And the commentators and whatnot. But if there wasn't a crowd, we'd probably get to hear it. And obviously, you're going to hear a lot of squeaky shoes.
Yeah. But you can hear that. You can hear that even.
Yeah, exactly. So imagine with no crowd. So I was kind of curious to see that. I got to see it for wrestling. We're going to get to see it. Basically, to WrestleMania, right? There's going to be nobody in the crowd.
WrestleMania, nobody in the crowd. And they actually announced that they were going to get rid of the 2 battle royals that they do, which is the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal for the men, and then the women's WrestleMania Battle Royal, which they both get trophies. The winners get trophies, but nothing really happens to them. But they're not going to do those because they want to limit the amount of people inside the ring at once, which makes sense.
It does, but I mean, that's not going to change anything in my opinion. No. But I'm curious to see, one, are they going to do different things differently? And then number 2, I mean, besides what you said, but I don't know, they're going to try to do some new things that they haven't tried or that they thought about doing, but they didn't want to mess with the show. Yeah. Now's a perfect opportunity to do it. And then 2, if it's 2 days, the second day, are they going to basically call audibles like, hey, this didn't work, let's try something else, and we get
Yeah,
a more refined product. That'd be
I
pretty cool.
that I don't think. I think it's more of the show is already gonna. It was already gonna be so long because WrestleMania every year is about like freaking 8 to 9 hours long. It's ridiculous. Starts about like 3 and ends at 11, which is ridiculous amount of time. No one wants to sit down, and people have been complaining for years that WrestleMania is getting longer and longer, and it's making the product worse. Like the whole appeal of WrestleMania back then was not everybody got on the card. You know, you had to compete. You had to prove to Vince like, hey, I'm ready for the show.
I
But
deserve the
nowadays,
limelight.
yeah, but nowadays everyone's on the damn show because the show's 8 hours long.
Yeah.
It's a work day. It's a full work day in order to watch it. So I think that actually this whole 2 day thing would be interesting to see because I want to see maybe 2 days, but each show is 4 hours long or 3 hours long. So you get a shortened product. It's not such a slog to get through. Sometimes it feels like a chore to get through WrestleMania. Especially last year it was tough. By the time everyone got to the main event, which is that triple threat women's match, everyone was burnt out. Like the crowd was burnt out. They weren't into it as much. So I think this will help. I did believe what they're going to do is they're going to put the champ so each night a championship is the championship, which whether it be the WWE wrestle title, the Universal, or the two women's titles, one of the titles matches is going to be the main event, which is kind of interesting too. So which means we're going to get either on either night we can get Drew McIntyre versus Brock main eventing, and Roman Reigns versus Goldberg were main eventing, or possibly Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley. Which if I was WWE, what I would do is have the two WrestleMania main events. I mean, the two Royal Rumble winners main event each night. So Saturday night you could have Charlotte Flair versus Rhea Ripley, and then main eventing, and then the next night have Drew McIntyre versus Brock Lesnar. Just to have like where you have the Royal Rumble winners main eventing, because the whole appeal is you would main event WrestleMania if you won Royal Rumble. Now with the introduction of the two Royal Rumbles, it got a little muddled. It was a little hard to understand which Royal Rumble winner was going to main event. With this 2-night thing, it could actually lead into make it where both Royal Rumble winners will main event a WrestleMania. Just you don't know which night.
That'd be pretty cool.
I think that makes more. I think it would make sense if they went forward with this. Maybe try it this week. This year, have Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair main eventing Saturday night, because Saturday night is normally for NXT Takeover. Since there's not going to be an NXT Takeover for that weekend, you have the NXT title main eventing that night of WrestleMania. Just an idea.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great idea, man. I also think, like you said, based on the 2 days, it kind of opens up more storytelling avenues. Like I'm just thinking of how, like, I've seen 2 days in MMA. It was a long time ago. It was 15, 20 years ago in MMA. And they had tournaments. And so they'd have like the first leg of the tournament on Friday and the second leg, which was a championship, on Saturday. And you could do something like that with wrestling too. Like if you have a little mini tournament, and then on Sunday they crown the champion, and it kind of gives fans like, wow, what are they gonna do? Or maybe like you put like a super lopsided one, like we've talked about, like a Brock versus Finn Balor. Finn Balor's real little, right?
Yeah.
So you somehow match them up where they're gonna end up fighting on Sunday or something, for example. And you were like, how's he gonna do it? This is an uneven match, and then you have Finn Balor, you're building it up, saying he's gonna figure out a way. David be Goliath, that kind of stuff. It just opens up different avenues, and I'm kind of interested to see, what if WWE just does this just regular, just basically the 8-hour show from last year and then split it up into 4 and 4 hours. I would think that that's a failure, because they have an opportunity to do different things. this is the opportunity to do it, to play, and because again, at the same time, this is the greatest opportunity to mess around and try new things, because everybody's going to be looking at you. There's nothing else on TV right now. Just try to do something different. Try to figure something else out. So if they do the same thing, man, I'm just telling you right now, dude, in my book, it's a failure.
Yeah, I mean, but we've seen Vince not really listen or want to change. He's always stuck in his ways. It was just always kind of crazy to me with the way things are changing. He likes to stand pat and stick in his old ways. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I will probably be watching WrestleMania for that weekend, and it's be kind of hard not to. One, there's not much to watch, and two, I really am interested to see how this 2-night WrestleMania thing. I'm not even worried. I'm not even caring too much about the empty arena thing. I'm more intrigued by the 2-night thing. I think the introduction of doing it 2 nights as a little test or little feeler out there, to see what if people want to see a 2-night WrestleMania. I think it could help the show going forward. You wouldn't hear so much about WrestleMania being too long because you have 2 nights of WrestleMania and you can choose which night to watch.
You know what's funny, man? And I don't know, I haven't seen them all, but there needs to be somebody, or has anybody leaned into the coronavirus thing?
In terms of wrestling?
Yeah, like, dude.
I don't know. I haven't watched AEW, so maybe there was something on AEW this past week.
No, I'm not even. I'm just talking about WWE. I mean, you've said it, and I think everybody knows that WWE. I mean, there's really little to no boundaries and lines, as far as what they put into their storytelling or their storyline. So why not a wrestler that it's either super germophobic, he comes out in his full garb when he wrestles, and then he sanitizes everything or something, he or she. Or on the flip side of that, why don't you put somebody that, like, to win, they sneeze on them or something? I mean, they put all kinds of crazy stuff in their stuff anyways. Why is this a limit? Why is this the limit?
I don't think they've done anything, because I'm pretty sure that would have went crazy. Everyone on Twitter have been talking about it, so I don't think it's happened.
Dude, WWE wouldn't want that. No, I mean they don't care about bad press. They don't care.
I know, but I'm just saying they haven't done it. I don't know if they will. They probably will at one point, but they haven't yet. I think it's more because they're not sure the seriousness of it. You know what I mean? I think once the seriousness of the coronavirus is kind of past, maybe it'll be more jokes about it or more things like that. I don't know. I don't think in the midst of a crisis they would. Vince is normally, in terms of things that are going down in the country, he can be not entirely sensitive to it, but he always lets some time pass before he's it's kind of open season on whatever it is, So I think they'll hold off on that until later. But
I mean, I'm not saying it'd be what is it called, PC or anything like that. I'm just saying WWE is known for that kind of stuff,
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I don't think they'll see that anytime soon, actually. All right. Let's go into what we're going to talk about next, which is basically just movies. The movie business is changing, and there's actually been a report saying that the entertainment business is going to lose about $14 billion because of what's going on. The big B, $14 billion are being lost because movies can't go into the theaters. Productions are halting. The productions are halting on a lot of things. Basically, if you were filming a movie, you're not filming a movie anymore because of what's going on. Movies are being pushed back. So Mulan was coming out in a few weeks. It's not anymore. Fast 9, as we talked about last week, got pushed all the way to 2021.
A Quiet Place.
A Quiet Place 2. A lot of things are getting pushed. Black Widow was the most recent one to get moved. But because of that, because of the influx of movies that are leaving, that are not going to be coming out in theaters, there has been a huge spike in movies that are going to streaming. So the first wave of movies that got moved to streaming was, I believe, Trolls 3, Invisible Man, and The Hunt.
Well, hold on. I will say there was one that preempted all of those,
Which one?
and it was Frozen 2.
Oh yeah, right. Sorry, you're right. Frozen 2, Disney put it on streaming very fast, but that was no longer in theaters though. It was already
But it was
on demand, so you can like order it. You can
mhm.
rent it, or yeah, you could
but
rent it, but you had to pay. But now
but
it's on Disney Plus.
yeah, but it broke the 3 month embargo, I guess, that they have, where they wait 3 months before they put it onto a free service. And that was the first one that I think in my opinion, that was the first domino to fall. Was Frozen 2 on Disney Plus. And then,
Mhm.
like you mentioned, Invisible Man, Trolls, what is it, 3 or 2? 3?
Three.
Trolls 3, Anna, right? Was it Anna?
I think so. Yeah,
But
I
Anna's
think
on
so.
HBO, right?
That I do not know. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
I see it on my HBO app, so I think it's on HBO. And then now we've gotten word that Bloodshot is coming out. You said today?
It is coming out. No, you said Bloodshot's Tuesday,
Tuesday, yeah, yeah.
and then but today was The Hunt,
The
Invisible
Hunt.
Man, and Trolls
Okay.
3.
Yeah. So I mean, they're all. I mean, and if you think about it, Bloodshot's coming out on Tuesday. Bloodshot just came out last Friday, I think it was.
Yeah,
So I mean, it's a week and a half, and it's going to be on streaming for purchase. You still have to purchase it, like on demand.
1999, I believe, is the
Nineteen
price
ninety
for all
nine.
these movies, which is where the interesting stuff comes into play in terms of what this means for the movie business. Because people have talked about maybe those smaller movies going straight to on demand, or like people have been afraid, theaters have been afraid that on demand is going to kill the theater business. I disagree because I think there are some movies that you want to see in the theater. I want to see Marvel movies in the theater. I want to see Star Wars in the theater, even though we're not going to get a Star Wars movie for a very long time now. But when this was being talked about, I wanted to see a Star Wars movie in the theater. I wanted to see a superhero movie in the theater. But for those smaller movies, it would make sense. I always thought it made sense for them to go straight to streaming. You know, you can make your money there. You're not spending big budgets on these movies, on those like smaller movies, on Anna, on I heard The Hunt was cheap. Blumhouse is one of those one
Mhm.
theaters or one of those studios that makes movies for dirt cheap, and that's why they always make their money back. Um,
But that messes up their business. You know, that messes up their how they make money, because I mean, say what you will. I don't think, at least right now, maybe in the future, whenever it becomes normalized, but right now, I don't think they're gonna make as much money doing a streaming as they would as a normal release. And by what I understand, the first weekend, 70% of box office goes to the studio. So on $100 million release for the first weekend, that's why the first weekend is so important to them. They're making 70 million off of that. And for a Blumhouse like Invisible Man, that they made like on, I think it was like $15 million or something stupid
yeah,
like
they're
that.
they're known for making cheap
Yeah,
movies.
I mean, I think it made like 100 million or something. Was it 100 million, or was it like 60 million?
um, it made a lot of money,
So
and I think The Hunt made a pretty decent amount of money too.
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's gonna be hard to recoup that. I mean, how many $20 movies? And that's the other thing, like you talked about. Like, yeah, some of them, the smaller movies, should go straight to on demand. But I also think they need to have a pricing structure. Like lower tier, mid tier, top tier. Like in my mind right now, I'm not gonna spend $20 on Trolls 3. I'm gonna
Nope.
I'm gonna I'm gonna spend $20 on Invisible Man, and I'm gonna spend $20 on Bloodshot. And actually, it's gonna be Bloodshot first, probably because it just came out last week, and then Invisible Man probably like next week when I get some more money in or something.
See, I think the ones that I'm gonna for sure watch are Invisible Man and The Hunt. I don't really care for Bloodshot. I'm not interested. The trailers never caught me, but definitely The Hunt and definitely The Invisible Man
Yeah. So
because
see, and
I've heard such good things.
that's different. Like the Hunt, I mean, I would probably watch it, but not right now. And I would probably pay $20 for it, but I have more ahead of it in for me. But
Mm-hmm.
both of us didn't say Trolls. We're not gonna watch Trolls.
No, but I never saw either. I didn't see the
Yeah,
first two.
and I
So
and I have kids. My
yeah.
kids were clamoring for it. But let's say they put Trolls for $4.99, I'm probably buying it for the kids.
Mm-hmm.
But at $20, no. And that's another thing that they were talking about. They're like, yeah, it's $20. That's a lot. And I think they're messing up too, because some of them are renting for $20 for 48 hours. But like for Bloodshot, it's $20 and you buy it, like it's yours.
Yeah, because that's the way it should be. I think. Well, that's how it normally is. With the streaming is if you rent it, it's $4.99. If you buy it, it's $19.99, and you
Hmm.
keep it. The
Yeah, but
movie's on your device, whatever you're using.
yeah, but they're not doing it that way. They're and I think that's confusion too. Like they haven't figured out a level playing field for everybody to say, all right, guys, like I mean, we're all part of the industry. Let's make
Hmm.
this as accessible as possible. If they pay $20, let them buy it,
Hmm.
versus renting it. So there's still confusion in that point. The other part of that is man, what was I getting at with that? The $20 and the $5. I don't know. Either way, this weekend I'm going to be renting probably Invisible Man because Bloodshot's not going to be out till Tuesday. So next weekend
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing Bloodshot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that this is going to take over. This is just something that they have to do in order to make some money because nobody's making money right now. None of these studios are making money off these movies that were in theaters for. I think the Invisible Man's been in theaters for a month now.
Mm-hmm.
The Hunt was only in theaters for like 2 weeks, and like I said, Bloodshot came out last week. Like they're trying to make their money back somehow. So this is the best way for them to do it, and I completely agree with it. I'm perfectly fine with it. I have no problem with it. What's interesting is, Disney actually doing the Frozen 2 thing was interesting. And then the discussion that Onward might be going to Disney Plus a little sooner than expected.
Whoa, that's crazy.
The idea that Bob Iger has been trying to put all his time, the reason why he stepped down from the creative side is because he wanted to focus on basically getting Disney Plus back on track. Because I don't know if you know this, but after The Mandalorian season 1 was over, a lot of people canceled their Disney Plus subscription.
Really?
Yeah, a lot of people were canceling because the lack of original programming, the lack of new stuff coming every week. When Mandalorian was out, man, people were talking about Mandalorian all the time. There's nothing for them to talk about now until the next one that was planned was Captain America. I mean, Winter Soldier and Falcon, which is going to come out in like August. That got pushed. That's going to get pushed back because production got pushed back. Mandalorian season 2 is done filming, so they're in post production now. But I don't know.
October.
Yeah, that's not coming out to October. So Bob Iger was trying to find a way to bolster these
I think
subscriptions, and Onward going on to Disney Plus might work, but I don't even think that's a big enough because they didn't put enough money into the. Honestly, I think I was more interested in Onward than I was in Soul, but they didn't put they put more of the marketing behind Soul and not enough behind Onward. I guess they thought Soul was their bigger seller, so they didn't put a lot of money into the marketing for Onward. So no one know what our Onward was, but I'm interested. What would they do? What could they do with these other movies that are coming out soon? They can't do it with Mulan. Mulan, they spent too much money on Mulan.
Yeah,
they have to drop something on Disney Plus, I think.
Well, the thing about Mulan, dude, and I think it's I think the Chinese market is gonna have a lot to do with Mulan, and from what I understand, I don't think they wanted it in China. So I don't know, man. Like you said, and maybe again, like all this stuff is just accelerating a lot of stuff that we already knew, whether we like it or not. Theaters were slowly dying, and
prices are the tickets are way too expensive.
Yeah, and the what's it called? The box office have been going. I think last year they had a contraction in the box office, and I think the only ones that carried it were Disney and Marvel that made like 7 of the top 10 most grossing movies or something stupid like that. So yeah, I mean, and then Disney bought Fox and their franchises. So there's a lot going on, and not just in this industry. I think we talked a little bit about it before, but I'll tell you, comic books. I'm a comic book guy. I read comic books weekly. I go to the comic book store, but comic book stores are also struggling, and it's kind of the same thing. Like Marvel and DC are doing great, but the independents are struggling, and then the stores are struggling because of the stupid distribution model. So distribution model, and it's the same. The distribution model in movies, you have to go to the movie theaters. When in this time we're transitioning to streaming, where they should be more focused on streaming, and the publisher should be more from comic books should be more focused on direct to consumer, whether it's on your phone or whether it's delivering to you directly. But because there's an old distribution model, and just so you know, I don't know if you're aware, but in comic books, Diamond Distributing has the monopoly on distributing Marvel and DC because they made a ridiculous contract, a lifelong contract, like in the 60s or something, that allows Diamond to be the only distributor. So they create the terms for distribution, and so comic book stores have to order their comic books 3 months ahead of time, and they don't know what's going to sell, where it's going to pop or not, and they can't return it. So if they buy 100,000 copies and only 50,000 sell, then they ate 50,000, and they have to eat that loss. They're the ones who eat the loss, not the distributor, not Marvel. So right now, when they can't, they already ordered the stuff from 3 months back. They're going to get all this stuff in, and people can't go to the store.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with movies. They make movies in the past. They post production, and they're supposed to produce them in the future or deliver them in the future. But in the future, nobody's gonna be able to go to movie theaters. AMC closed, Cinemark closed, Regal Theaters is closed, so they're all closed. Even Alamo Draft House is closed, except for one holdout, which is a non-franchise Alamo Draft House, I think, or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can't go to the theater, then the only option is streaming. And if they're not willing to, I guess, change it, and I know they had some discussion in the past, but I tell you, Disney Plus messed up by only having the Mandalorian at launch.
Yep.
Because that screwed everything. They should have had Mandalorian, and they should have something else within like 3 or 4 weeks, right before everybody was gonna terminate it, mm-hmm. and launch the first episode. And you know who does a great job of that is people who have already been doing that. HBO does a great job of that.
Yeah, they have I think HBO actually has the best model in terms of releases.
So The Outsider just finished, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like a week later, Westworld season 3 started.
Mm-hmm. They always do that.
So that's what I'm saying, because they've been doing that. They've been direct to consumer, direct to, and Disney and all these other places haven't. So they're trying to figure out a model where they keep people interested. Now Disney has, like you said, Onward, that could kind of, put some juice into it a little bit. And they probably have Soul coming out. And I don't know about Mulan, man. I think
it's too much money they put into Mulan. I think Mulan was like a $200 million production. That's too much money, man.
Well, why don't they do things like this, man? For like a Mulan, why don't they say we're gonna premiere Mulan on Disney Plus on Saturday at 7 p.m. Whatever.
Purchase a $20 ticket.
Yeah, and then they just do it one time, and it's 7 p.m. your time, right? So it's 7 p.m. Eastern, Central, and Pacific. But it's at 7 for you, so it's not like at 2 p.m. in California.
I just blew my own mind right now. Disney owns ESPN Plus. How do they do the UFC pay-per-views? You purchase it on the day of, or the week before, all week before. You let people know, hey, we're gonna be like Mulan is coming out Friday night, Saturday night. Purchase your showing. You have it in your house, so that means you could actually have people over and watch it. Well, no, you can't, I guess. But
as long as it's less than 10 people, dude.
Yeah, as long as it's less than 10 people. But you can actually have your family sit down and watch the movie. This is the best. Dude, I think you just solved it. This is the best time to do that right now, especially because everyone's at home. What is everybody doing right now? I think everyone can. I think you have. I have 5 people living in my house, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus my son. So that's 5 people. I guess there's 2 people here working. So that's me. I put 10 down. My stepdad puts 10 down. We watch Mulan.
Done deal.
Boom. And then you're getting. I mean, you're the amount of houses that are going to be doing it. You might have more people purchasing because they don't have to go to a theater.
Dude, there's nothing else to do.
There's nothing else to do. The reason why people don't go to theaters is because the tickets are so expensive. But because you're paying, like if you go with, like you have a family of you have a large family, you go to the movies. That's a big purchase you got to make. Even if it's just me and my girlfriend, that's $40 that I'm putting down, not including snacks and stuff. But if you're at home. $20. You can have multiple people sitting here watching it. 5 people for $20. You're in the comfort of your own home. You can pause whenever you want to, or something like that. I think people are overthinking it. Just like I was before you said that. I was thinking $200 million is a lot of money. But if you put it in people's homes where they don't have to travel and go out and do it, people will purchase it, I think, and you might make your money back.
Yeah, for one time, for one time.
Yeah, it's one viewing. That's it.
So if you think about it, like let's say how many people would get Disney Plus for that month, right? So that's what? How much is Disney Plus? Like what?
$6.99.
$6.99. So $7. So you get a pop of $7, and then $20 to watch Mulan. For at 7 o'clock one time.
Mm-hmm.
So that gives you, I don't know. Let's say they said it was 100 million people that were at for the Mandalorian, right? So 100 million times 20, that sounds like what, 200 million right there. That's what you paid for making the movie, and then the gravy on top is a monthly subscription.
Yeah.
I'm not saying everybody that watched the Mandalorian is gonna watch Mulan, but I guarantee there's gonna be a lot of people that watch Mulan, dude.
Yeah, for sure. I think Mulan's one of the most anticipated. First reactions that already came out before everything happened, and said the movie's fantastic. So I'm excited for that. What I was actually thinking before all this virus stuff happened, whenever no one knew what was going to happen with New Mutants, I was actually one of the people saying, why doesn't Disney just drop it on Disney Plus? They don't seem like they have a lot invested in New Mutants.
Yeah, because it's from Fox.
And just drop it on Disney Plus. And now maybe they don't have any other choice because of what's going on. And that's actually one I'd be interested in watching on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be great, man. That'd be like they can start something new, man. This Saturday, or let's say next Saturday, do Mulan, $20 Saturday, or let's say they start off with New Mutants, $20 New Mutants next Saturday. Who's buying? Mm-hmm. Weekend after that, Mulan. Weekend after that, Soul. Boom, they got their own thing, and it's one time. That we're not able to stream it whenever we want. We're not able to pause it or whatever. It's just one time, 7 o'clock Saturdays. Until this thing gets back to normal or whatever, which is, I mean, it's supposed to be far down the line.
They're saying months.
That's what I'm saying, man. I don't think these theaters are gonna open for months, dude. Like, I'm talking about June, July, if that.
You're gonna see smaller theaters. Go out of business.
Dude, like we're seeing a transition, man. Like, a lot of these big companies that had automation and different ways to get away from workers, their time frame was 2 to 3 years from now, where it just got moved up because of the virus. So, I mean, like all the things that we can do now, like I was mentioning, shopping, and HEB is getting down to a science now where you just order online and go to the stall and text them your stall number, and they'll come and deliver the food for you. This is going to be the same thing with everything else, from entertainment, how we take entertainment, how it's delivered to us. Comic book stores, like I said, dude, comic book stores are locally owned, man. There's not one real big chain out there. So the smaller ones are going to go under, man. Yeah. And only the bigger ones are going to be up that are brick and mortar, but a lot of the little ones are going to go online. So there's going to be a lot of online stores now where you can order your books online and they deliver them to you. Maybe no contact. I don't know. That's a big thing right now. Same thing with the restaurants, dude. The restaurants that are winning are the ones that are figuring out how to deliver, and they're sending out emails. This is how we're going to deliver with no contact. Tell us where to place the food. We'll place the food there on this mat or whatever. I don't know. They have a special mat or something. So that's all. This is changing because of this virus, and it's going to have to, because this is not a 1 week, 2 week thing right now. This is looking like a 3 month thing, 4 month thing, and even then probably longer. Like, and even when we come out of it, everything's gonna change, dude. Like, we're all gonna be sanitizing our hands more. They're gonna be cleaning more, desanitizing stuff, because we finally got something that changes the way we live, man. Because nobody wants to get it, nobody wants to give it to their loved ones. Yeah. And they don't want to be the passenger or the passer of that virus, man.
Yeah, sorry about that face. I just got breaking Tom Brady news.
Did he sign
contract? His contract details came out.
How much is it? It's 2 years, 60 million, right?
2 years, 50 million, guaranteed.
25 million a day.
It's a guaranteed deal. Entirely of the deal is guaranteed. It prohibits Tampa Bay from tagging or trading him. Wow.
Damn.
Hey, you know what? This man has been taking pay cuts for years. If Tampa wants to give him whatever they want, I'm not going to be mad at him.
Look, man, I have a timestamp text message that said Tampa Bay was my new team, and it was before any of the Tom Brady news came out. So I don't know what happened.
Dude, they're stacked. All they needed was Jameis Winston to not throw to the other team.
To not throw 50 picks.
Yeah, because he threw. I mean, he threw how many touchdowns? But he threw just as many interceptions.
I think it was like 31 touchdowns and like 30 interceptions or something
It's
stupid.
bad. Like, I mean, it's like every touchdown he threw an interception. So
There's that meme out there right now on Twitter where it says Mike Evans when the ball finally hits his hands, and he's like, it's just a guy like this looking at his hands.
But yeah, man, they got Chris Godwin, they got OJ Howard, Mike Evans,
Ronald Jones.
all of a sudden he's got weapons, and the entire arguments last year were Tom Brady has no weapons, he has no one to throw to. Even though the entire argument for Tom Brady was he can do most with less, and last year he had less and couldn't do more.
Well, I can tell you one thing: he doesn't have the arm that he used to have, so he can't throw deep as well anymore. But if he has time, he can still launch it.
That's what OJ Howard. I think OJ Howard is going to be his favorite. They're going to be best friends.
Yeah, or in the running back.
And the running back. Yeah, because he loves throwing his running backs.
Dude, but they just signed another offensive tackle from the Colts that was sneaky and underrated. So they're going to have – I mean, they have a decent line already. So they're just adding to it to protect Tom Brady because that's a big investment, dude. $25 million guaranteed for 2 years. Can't trade him and can't tag him. So
yeah,
good for him.
So I think that's really all I wanted to talk about in terms of like the movies that were being delayed and stuff. I did watch a movie this past weekend. It was Knives Out. I really enjoyed it. I think that's what Rian Johnson should be doing. Even though I like The Last Jedi, I have no problem with The Last Jedi. I know everybody hates it and people probably give me hate for it. But I like The Last Jedi. But I understand why people don't like it. It's the same reason why I like Iron Man 3. But people don't like Iron Man 3 is like it's a good Shane Black movie, but it's not a good MCU movie. It's the same thing with I guess with Last Jedi. It's a good Rian Johnson movie, but it's not a good Star Wars movie. But I just like sit down and enjoy the movie for what it is. So I have no problems with it. But with that Knives Out, man, it's so good. It's one of those mysteries, and I like mystery movies even when you can see them coming from a mile away. I like mystery movies, whodunits, and this is one that I didn't see coming at all. Like it's very interesting. It's the only problem I did have with it was I did get confused in terms of time because they don't tell you when they're flashbacking.
Yeah.
Even though it's only a couple of days or a day before, it's not clear. There was literally a part where I was confused as hell. And my girlfriend had she was like, "No, this is what happened." We had pause the movie and she had to explain it. I was like, "Why don't they put like 2 days ago or something like on the bottom?" It's not hard to do that, but I don't know. That was the only problem I had with the movie, though. It's the acting is fantastic. Anna de Armas is a star.
Anna de Armas, yeah, dude. I've been on Anna de Armas for a long time, man.
I know you have. I'm sure from not her acting, but her acting is fantastic.
Her acting is A1, dude.
Okay,
A1.
yeah, her acting is fantastic. And I think the first thing I saw her in was Knock Knock, and that's a horrible movie.
With John Wick.
Yes, it's so bad. It's not one of those so bad it's good. It's just bad. Like it's just like, oh, what are we watching?
Let me tell you, because what movies has she's been in a bunch of movies, dude.
I only knew that. I only knew Knock Knock. I know she's in Blade Runner 2049, but I haven't seen it. This was my introduction to her in terms of her acting, and fantastic. She's a star. I think she's going to be a star in the game, I guess.
Oh yeah, she was in Hands of Stone.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Watch that movie.
The boxing movie, right? I didn't see that.
Yeah, she was in Hands of Stone. She was in War Dogs.
Didn't see it. War Dogs.
She's gonna be. War Dogs is good too, man. It's based on a true story.
Yeah, that's Jonah Hill and Miles Teller, right?
Yeah, and Hands of Stone is based on the Roberto Duran. So it's also based on a true story.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch anything she's in now after seeing Knives Out, and then of course,
Annabelle. She was in Annabelle.
The other standout for me was also Chris Evans, as he normally is. Going back to being his douchey self as I first saw him in like Not Another Teen Movie and in Fantastic Four, which is funny because people were saying like, I can't believe how good of an actor is Chris Evans. He plays douchey. Like I've never seen him play douchey before. Like, have y'all never seen his first movies?
Yeah, dude. He was really douchey in Fantastic Four, dude.
Yeah, but that was the character, I think, and we probably hated him because we're like, oh, he's such a douche, but like that's what he's asked to do. Also, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, fantastic.
Oh yeah. He was Scott, right? Was he Scott?
No, he was
He was the main guy, the last guy, right?
no, he was the skateboarding
The
bad
boyfriend,
guy.
right? One of the
Yeah,
boyfriends.
one of the ex-boyfriends, but he wasn't the main ex-boyfriend. I think who was the first main ex-boyfriend? I always forget his name. But yeah, he was really good in the movie. I was impressed with him in the movie. Again, I'm unwise. I shouldn't say impressed. He was the standout for me. I'm not impressed. I don't want to say not impressed, but I'm not surprised by Chris Evans' performances anymore. Like, I know he can put on a great performance.
Yeah, he's a good actor, man. He came out in the movie. Was it called the Gifted or the Gifted One or something like that? Where
That's one I didn't see. I wanted to see that one.
man, that's a really good movie, dude. That's a really good movie. It was prescient for me and my wife, because the little girl's super smart, and we have one of those, or at least one of those, maybe two in our little lot.
We have one of those. It's so impersonal the way you said it. We have one of those.
Well, I mean, right now it's because we have two basically, right? But one of them is above and beyond, and the other one is kind of slower, but still talented and above. And then the boys they're too little. We don't know, So
yeah.
But we saw that movie. That movie was great. Chris Evans was great in that movie. He showed a lot of range. He played kind of like I mean, he's just like like at first you just see him and he's like what is he like what are they called, man? Those guys that are always upset and
he was brooding.
Yeah, kind of brooding, but not brooding. Mopey, maybe moping around, and then you start to realize why, and you understand it. It's like, oh man, he's doing a really good job of that, man. If that were to happen, so he did a good job in that one. I've also heard Knives Out was great. I haven't seen it. It's on my list of movies to watch, but I've also heard too that they're gonna try to make a Knives Out 2. I don't know how that would work.
I don't know. I can see it, just in terms of the detective.
Yeah, so they said
the detective.
Chris Evans said it, and then Rian Johnson said it. So apparently he has a script for it already or something. So I don't know how that's going to move forward, especially with production right now.
Well, yeah, that sucks. But I could see it, because especially if Rian Johnson comes back, it's the same reason why I was okay with A Quiet Place 2. Is only if John Krasinski was going to, because I think when Quiet Place 2 was first announced, John Krasinski wasn't sure if he was going to do it. And then at that point I was like, no, don't do it. I don't want it. And then when he came back, I was like, yes, I'm all for it. Same thing with Rian Johnson with Knives Out. If he's going to do Knives Out too, if he has a story, I'm perfectly fine with it. If
hold on.
Like, I'm going to carry on Knives Out too, I wouldn't want it.
But Krasinski, Krasinski didn't write it, right? Like A Quiet Place?
Well, direct, I guess, is what I meant.
Okay, so you meant direct, yeah.
Yeah, because his directing is amazing in that movie.
Because he did get a credit for writing A Quiet Place 1 as a writer, but the reason why is because he incorporated more of the actress who is actually deaf. He incorporated more of her. He wanted to like when she did the what is it called? When you go and you try out or whatever, what is it called?
Audition?
When she did the audition, he liked her immediately, and he went back and he wrote more into it for her. So that's why he got the credit. But the story was from the guy's name, Beckham Woods. There's two guys, childhood friends, and they initially had said they had a sequel lined up, but they didn't know if anybody was going to want it after A Quiet Place. And like you mentioned, it took a while to get Krasinski back on board. So when he got back on board, I was like, hey, man, let's do it. Because I mean, I always like it when they show you just a little bit of the world, and then the second one kind of expands on it. Like John Wick did a good job of that. They showed you a little bit of the world in the first one, and there's like some crazy stuff, like the guys who come and pick up the bodies and you pay them with the gold coin. And the second one just kind of expanded it and told you what it was about.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that's what happens with A Quiet Place 2.
I hope so too, and it looks like we're gonna get that from A Quiet Place 2, especially in the trailers. A lot more of what happened from the get go, and then also flashing forward to the present.
Yeah.
All right, so
when we do get it, if we do get it,
I mean, I think we're gonna get it. Just don't know when. Who knows when we're gonna get these damn movies? I think I think as soon as people start going crazy and start clamoring for more, you'll start seeing more like on demand. Like if this goes into months, you'll start seeing on demand stuff.
Man, I don't even understand why they don't do things like like a Kickstarter or GoFundMe, but from a huge corporation standpoint. Like, look, we made A Quiet Place for 70 million. We have to at least break even. We're gonna put it, tentatively on demand next Saturday, but we have to get 70 million in pre-orders.
Yeah,
Something like that.
yeah. That's an idea. All right, so you want to go ahead and jump into this football stuff? We're gonna keep the big one for later because that's gonna be a huge rant, and I can't. I don't think I can discuss the other stuff in high spirits if we talk about that one thing first.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna talk about this first. I guess the big news is we already mentioned it: Tom Brady and the Bucs. Tom Brady going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I actually saw something interesting that people were talking about it. I was like, oh, people were moving on from Tom Brady. I don't think teams are moving on from Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady was letting teams know that he wasn't looking at them anymore. Yeah. So when Tennessee decided on Tannehill to extend Tannehill, I think he probably called up Vrabel and was like, "Hey,
I'm not going.
I'm not going." Because I saw other people talking about that, like, "Oh, other teams are out on him." Like, no, they weren't moving on from Tom. I think Tom was moving on from them, especially like the Colts. They were like, "Oh, we're gonna go with Philip." He probably told him like, "I'm going somewhere else," so they go with Philip Rivers and vice versa. Chicago, Nick Foles, and all that other stuff. The big one was Teddy Bridgewater to Carolina. So it was like people need to get that straight. Like people, the market did wait for Tom Brady. It just didn't wait as long. And
not only that, they did wait. They waited until they got an answer.
They got the answer, so they moved on a lot faster than other stars have normally been given. Like Kawhi Leonard took forever to freaking give an answer last year.
Yeah, but that was because they were making those moves on the back end with Paul George.
Yeah, who can get Paul George first?
I think Brady had a big leg up, and that's people realizing and seeing Peyton Manning that they thought he was washed up, and he came back and he gave him solid years and a championship to Denver. So their
defense was what helped that, and Tampa has a very, very
defense. But what I'm saying, like the other teams saw that and saw that it could work for a 2 to 3 year window, and it's basically the same situation because there hasn't been a lot of drop off on Tom Brady. There has been a drop off, and he has been inaccurate. But also, is it him or is it he had no weapons? Mm-hmm. And these guys just don't know how to run routes. Don't know how to run routes for him. Edelman kept getting hurt. No Gronk. He didn't have nobody. So this is going to be a real test because, like we talked about, Tampa Bay has everybody. They have Mike Evans. They have Godwin. They got O.J. Howard. They have Ronald Jones at running back, and they have a decent line. And they just added somebody from the Colts to their tackles, offensive tackles. So they have a good line, and they got a good defense. They have a decent defense as well. So, and Bruce Arians is the coach, right? He's the coach of the Bucs.
Yes.
So Bruce Arians is a good coach, man. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. He was a good assistant coach in Pittsburgh, and then he was a good coach in Arizona when he was in Arizona, right? Mm-hmm. He didn't have a good quarterback either over there, did he? He had what the
hell is his name?
Kevin Cobb and what's the other guy's name?
Stanton.
Andrews, he had a bunch of those guys,
Stanton,
man.
Right.
So now he has a real quarterback that knows what he's doing in Tom Brady. So I'm excited about him. A little preview to our rant. They're my new team, so I'm excited about the Buccaneers. And I have text messages where I timestamped it before even Brady went over there. So,
well, good for you. No, I'm just kidding. I have a team that I'm replacing. Well, I already had this team, but they were just like my number 2. Now they kind of moved into number 1, the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they didn't really make any moves.
What team is that?
The Pittsburgh Steelers. They haven't made any moves, but I'm a Steelers fan. I was a Steelers fan before the Texans were a thing here in Houston. That's when I first started watching football.
Yeah, I was a Bucs fan after the Oilers left, and in between the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
I was a Buccaneers fan. I love their logo. I love their stadium with that big ship crashing into it.
Yeah, that is a great stadium.
Trent Dilfer was my quarterback back in the day. Trent Dilfer, Mike Alstott, Work Done, Warren Sapp, all those guys. And then the Texans came, and obviously I stayed with the Texans because it's my home team. So now, I'm going to the Bucks. It's in the NFC, so I'm still leaving my AFC affiliation unchecked. There's no check mark there. I don't have a team in the AFC. I don't have a team in Houston right now. Besides, the Roughnecks. I mean, Roughnecks are my team in Houston.
Roughnecks. All right, the champions.
Yeah.
Technically, I guess.
Technically, yeah.
But yeah, so let's go ahead and get in. So Tom Brady. My biggest surprise with Tom Brady was the who. I had been saying the Chargers, but it seemed pretty early that the Chargers weren't involved anymore. That Tom Brady wasn't interested. So I was wondering what the hell was going to happen because
I never believed the Chargers though, dude. I never believed the Chargers because those guys couldn't keep Phillip Rivers upright, and he's more mobile than Tom Brady. So if I'm Tom Brady, why would I want to go there where their old line sucks?
Yeah, true. I was just thinking in terms of I was looking at weapons. I guess mostly I was looking at weapons. They have the like Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. That's what I was looking at.
Phillip Rivers is not a bad quarterback, dude. He's not. Go look at how many times he was pressured and sacked last year, dude. It's pressure. Bust pipes and pressure gets to quarterbacks, man. Even Brady, when Brady's under pressure, he's not that great. So
I look at Rivers the same way I looked at Eli. It was because him and Eli always switched over who was going to lead in picks that year. Was him and Eli. Eli just happened to have an elite defense and was able to win two championships.
And was able to beat the Patriots twice.
Yeah.
It was not only that, but it's those guys that have cannons for arms, dude, that think they can get it in smaller windows, and that's Phillip Rivers too. So I don't know, man. I mean, I never believed he was going to the Chargers because their own line is so deficient,
Yeah. But so I'm trying to think of who else I had up there. Because it was really that's who I had.
I had him going to the Raiders, dude. I had him going to the Raiders.
I had Raiders high towards the end. The possibility of saying New England, but that was like my last possible thing. I just couldn't see. I didn't have Tampa on my list at all.
I didn't have Tampa either. Just because it's Tampa.
Yeah, that's the thing. But
and I'm not saying it like in a bad way. I'm saying like. From it's not Los Angeles or New York, or Boston for that matter. For a guy like Brady and his family and his wife,
Like my sleeper was actually San Fran because San Fran's from the Bay Area. His favorite team growing up. You would think that he would that maybe what's his name? Kyle Shanahan was like maybe why not for 1 year, 2 years maybe see what he can do in my offense with the weapons that I have. Great offensive line, great defense, great running game. That team's basically like built
for him.
Built great. So I was thinking, maybe they'll pull something off. But Tampa's where it's at. He has the warm weather, so ideal conditions. If you think about it, though, he's playing in a pretty decent division over there with that NFC South. So you have we'll see what Bridgewater looks like with that Carolina team. New Orleans is always
Drew Brees.
Falcons, they just picked up Todd Gurley. So we'll see. I mean, Matt Ryan was an MVP one time. But he's had a Super Bowl hangover ever since. But it's I'm interested to see that. I mean, we're going to see him and Drew Brees going at it twice a year now. Kind of cool.
At least for the next 2 years. That's pretty cool. Yeah. I agree.
So biggest surprise there. I'm trying to look for other ones. Go ahead. You got any big ones that were standing out for you?
Todd Gurley getting cut is kind of a surprise. That tells me that he didn't want to restructure his contract.
Seems like he can't stay healthy.
Can't stay healthy, man. He's not a healthy back right now. And I think he's lost some of that explosiveness, but I also think that's because he hasn't been healthy that he had in his rookie season or his sophomore season too. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm trying to see who else signed. I mean, the home team, the Texans re-signing Roby. I didn't think that was going to happen. Honestly, I thought he was too highly ranked for the second part of the season. He was going to go get money somewhere else. and he ended up resigning here with the Texans. So I think that was a big signing.
Yeah, it's a big signing. We can talk about Stephon Diggs being traded to the Buffalo Bills,
For
giving
what?
Josh Allen
For a first round pick? Are you kidding me?
I don't want to talk about it. Stephon Diggs. So yeah, him going there, giving Josh Allen a weapon, which is one thing that I really thought that he needed.
Wait, hold on. Where are you going? You to the Jets?
To the Bills.
Oh, to the Bills. Oh, yeah. So hold on. The Bills had, well, they had that one guy that was kind of make John Brown.
John Brown, he was, but I think I told you last year he wasn't a number one to me. I think when we're watching the Texans Bills game,
Yeah.
I don't think he was a number one. I think Diggs can be a number one, to John Brown's number two.
Well, yeah, I agree. I think John Brown is a borderline one.
He's there. He can get there.
Like if you had him at one and you got a better two, so that he didn't have all the double teams on him, he'd be better. But you're right. If he's a two, he's a high two. And Stephon Diggs is a one is gonna garner a lot of attention.
And then Beasley there in the
slot. And the new Wes Welker.
Who's that tight end? They have a tight end there that's actually pretty decent.
I don't remember him.
I can't remember him either, but yeah. And then they were also able to get Josh Norman on a 1-year deal.
Yeah, but Norman he's had bad years in where did he go? It was in Washington. Was it Washington?
Yeah, I think yes.
You got that big contract there after Carolina. Was it Carolina? Yeah, Carolina was the one who cut him.
Yeah, so now he's only on a $6 million contract.
Yeah, so I mean it's a proven contract. I mean that's what Roby signed. Roby signed last year. Mm-hmm. It's what Honey Badger signed the year before that. You know, they got to prove it, and he does have to prove it. He has all the skills, man. He's a very smart player, high IQ, and he has the skills and the skill set. I don't know if that scheme in Washington was right for him. So maybe he gets a shot. Where do you say he signed again? At
who?
Norman.
With the Bills.
With the Bills. So maybe, and you know what, man, the Bills defense. I mean, that was basically holding them up all last year, dude.
Yeah, and this is an AFC East division that's all of a sudden wide open. I've told so we have obviously with Bill Belichick, you just always have to assume that they're going to be there. You have to.
I mean, dude, when he won 10 games with
Matt Castle,
dude. I mean, I don't hold anything. Like you say it's wide open, but if he gets something decent at quarterback that can throw the ball, I mean, I don't know, man.
Is Stidham the guy? I was actually thinking that they had a big chance to get Bridgewater. So when Bridgewater went to Carolina, I was like, who are they going to get?
I don't know. I don't think.
What about a Trubisky?
Oh gosh,
a Trubisky with Bill Belichick. I think Bill Belichick would look at one of these guys and be like, I can make something of these guys.
No, I don't think he would. I think he's like, I'm too old for this shit.
I don't know, man. We'll see. So yeah, I just think it's that AFC East division is actually one that I'm really excited to see play out because you have the up and coming Bills that are that were able to get into the postseason last year. Can they go over the hump and win the division this year? Get a home playoff game this upcoming year. I've been telling my brother-in-law that I've been liking the moves that the Miami Dolphins are making. I think the Miami Dolphins are a very well-run team.
Now they are.
Now they are. This is brand new. They have I think that they have a guy there that's trying to create a winning culture with Brian Flores.
Yep.
When that team was supposed to be tank for Tua, and he said, you know what? No, we're going to go in there. We're going to try and win as many games as we can and pull out 5 wins with that trash team that they had.
Well, because they traded everybody.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. Like, traded everybody away and still was able to pull out wins because the guy was like, we're not going to tank.
Look at all the picks that they got, too. They got, what is it?
So many picks.
A number 1 from Houston for Tunsil.
So they have it's like a 20-something pick. They have the number 5 pick.
They got something for Kenyon Drake too. I think I don't think they got a number 1 for Drake, but they got like a 2 or 3.
I think a 2 or 3 because they have like 13 picks in this upcoming draft. Obviously, I don't think they're going to use all of them. They're gonna end up flipping some of them.
Mm-hmm.
But so they might get their quarterback, whether it be Tua, whether it be Herbert, whoever they want. At number 5, they have the pick of a litter because they were right before the Chargers. The Chargers are looking for a quarterback too. So basically, whoever Miami picks, LA Chargers are going to get the other guy because we already know Joe Burrow's going number one. Unless the Lions are able to trade Matthew Stafford, they're going to go with Okudah. So the Dolphins basically have their pick of the litter in terms of their quarterback, whoever they want.
They traded Drake for a 6th rounder that can become a 5th round pick. That's ridiculous.
That's not a good trade.
That's
a Bill O'Brien trade right there.
Well, but in fairness, Drake wasn't doing a lot, and he really showed out in Arizona. I mean, he really showed out. Like, and then again, that was probably because the O-line and Miami was decimated after Tunsil left. So that just tells you too that Arizona is a well-run team too.
Yeah. But like I was saying, it's the AFC East. All of a sudden, something I'm looking forward to watching. Maybe the Jets can make a bounds. It all comes down to Darnold. I think Darnold can make that leap into what his potential was when he was first drafted. Because this is that year that those guys have to start stepping up. Josh Allen has to start making big plays. Darnold has to start making big plays. Who's the other quarterback? Baker. We gotta see huge improvement because they're going into their third year now. Like they're no longer in their sophomore year. This is their third year. This is the contract year now.
Well, dude, I mean, Allen's the one from Buffalo, right?
Yeah, I think he will get extended.
Yeah, dude, that dude in the playoff game. I mean, and leading up to the playoff game, he had some big plays that he made with his feet. He made a huge play with his feet in the playoff game.
Yeah, he's a big man.
Yeah, and he wasn't like. I think he got a little shell shocked towards the end, but I think he knows he belongs there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see somebody that was a fish out of water there. Like, it's just experience, and now he's gaining that experience. So I fully anticipate. Now, on the other hand, Baker Mayfield, dude, that dude regressed so much, man. And you want to talk about weapons? That dude has weapons, and he can't get anything done, man. So I don't know where that guy's gonna go. I don't know if he has enough to put in the work and the time to become a good quarterback or a great quarterback at that with all those weapons around him and use those weapons around him.
That's the thing about Mayfield is he's got so many weapons, and for the performance that he had last year is unacceptable, I think. Whereas with Darnold, I just think Darnold is just in that middling point in his career where he just maybe doesn't know who he is as a quarterback. He's not as familiar with his weapons. I thought Le'Veon Bell would help a lot, and he didn't. So I'm wondering what he does this upcoming year. They have Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, Robbie Anderson broke out last year.
Yeah, he had a big year last year. So can they make that next step into becoming a wild card team? Especially now that is it this upcoming year or the next year? I guess next year. But pretty soon we're going to be having 7 teams now in the playoffs. Can you get that extra wild card spot? I don't know. We'll see. But like I said, these are one of those divisions, and I think it's for the Buffalo Bills to take the AFC East. This is for time for Josh Allen can win the division. All of a sudden, he's going to be that quarterback that's going to get the next highest paid quarterback contract.
Who is?
Josh Allen.
You think so?
Once he's come out, because at that point it'll be Mahomes and then Deshaun, and then the next wave of guys will get their contracts. And if he can make the playoffs 2 years in a row and win the division, he can be in that talk and win the playoff game. He has to win a playoff game.
I was gonna say he has to win a playoff game. If he wins a playoff game, then yeah. But I mean, winning the division sounds good for him too. Like that's a good feather in his cap too. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's as wide open as you say, man. I don't know. I mean, I don't bet against Belichick, man.
All right. So you think Belichick's still going to win the division? You want to make a bet right now?
I don't know, man. I feel like it's a challenge to him. Like he hasn't been challenged a lot, and that's why. And they've still been winning because of Brady, and now it's a challenge. So now he's going to bring out the kitchen sink. And he's shown it in the past. Like we can't say can he win without Brady. Like he's done it in the past. He's capable of doing it. He's just going to do it again in a different era, which would be amazing. And I think it's also like kind of like a Shaq and Kobe thing right now. Who's going to have success first? And I think Brady did well too by going to the NFC. so that he can see them if they do get to the championship together against each other. But who's gonna have success first, Brady or Belichick? You know,
Yeah,
Belichick.
interesting to see.
Belichick is one quarterback away, and we know that for a fact.
Yeah,
But Brady has to have the whole team and the culture and everything break just right. And I think he did well by picking a Bruce Arians run team, because Bruce Arians run team, he's a players coach, but he's also a really good coach.
Mhm.
And supposedly this is his last stint as a coach. Like, he's never gonna coach again after this. So I'm kind of excited to see that, man. But I don't know. I just don't want to bet against Belichick, man.
I get it. I get it. It's hard to do. It really is. All right. So the next big move that I have here, just when we can just touch on them, we don't have to go deep into them. But Teddy Bridgewater signing with the Panthers, as we already said. Interesting to see what they do there.
So real quick, I want to talk about that too.
Go ahead.
Uh, them stating, so them is the Panthers released on Twitter a statement saying that they have mutually agreed with the agent and Cam Newton to allow Cam Newton's agent to look for a trade, and although whatever they're sad and whatever, the end of an era, whatever, right?
Mhm.
And I hate that stuff, man. I hate that stuff because when we read it, we know, man, that's BS. There's other stuff going on behind the scenes. Well, we actually got to see what was going on behind the scenes because Cam Newton replied to it. And Cam Newton put all the business out there, and he basically said, don't make it seem like it was mutual. It was not mutual. I love Carolina. I love the Panthers organization. I wanted to stay. You guys gave me no other choice. You guys didn't give me a choice or leave me and my agent a choice. So that's why we're seeking a trade, because you guys don't want me here, basically.
Yeah, and I knew basically the minute that Ron Rivera was gone, I knew Cam was gone, because you normally, a lot of times when they bring in a new coach, unless it's like a brand new quarterback, unless it's like a brand new rookie quarterback, which even then that's not guaranteed, because we saw that with Josh Rosen last year after they brought in Cliff Kingsbury. Even though the year before that they drafted Josh Rosen, they still let Josh Rosen go. So it's not guaranteed. I can see normally when they bring in a coach, they're going to let that coach use whatever quarterback he wants, whether it be the quarterback that's already there or bring in his own. So I figured that this was going to happen. And if it does suck, but I think this is something that we all know was going to happen. And yeah, if you're the Panthers, just don't comment on it. Just kind of let it go. Like, just let it happen. Just let the news come out that you are trading him, and that's it. Go the Bill O'Brien route and just trade him. Like, don't put you don't need to put a statement out, I don't think.
Well, in that sense, O'Brien needs to put out a damn statement or a freaking interview.
Oh, we'll get there. Hold it. Save it. All right, next one that we can talk about real quick: Nick Foles being traded to the Bears after only 1 year in Jacksonville. And I think this is why I told everybody Nick Foles is not a good quarterback. I don't think he's a good quarterback. He got beat out by Gardner Minshew.
Well, I mean, if you win a Super Bowl, you're a good quarterback, right?
He had a great season. He had a great 3 games.
Hey, I mean, the same thing could be said for Joe Flacco. Is Joe Flacco a good quarterback? He won a Super Bowl.
I know he did, and he's the one that ruined the quarterback market. Like, I think you have to put that on Joe Flacco, because he's not a great quarterback, but he had a great run. He had a great run to that championship with the help of a really great defense behind him. Now, Nick Foles didn't necessarily have that.
Nope.
He just put up historic numbers.
Yep.
But he had a great run for 3 games. 4
I don't
games.
know. I don't know, man. Like, I get what you're saying, dude, and I half agree with it. But if the guy's got it in him, dude, it's up to a coach to bring it out of him. You know what I'm saying?
I also think that it was that team, man. They believed in Nick Foles like crazy. Like, everyone on that team. I think the biggest one was Jones. I can't remember his name. It's not Chris Jones. I don't know, but the thing is, the offensive lineman that basically built a shrine to Nick Foles. They believed in Nick Foles wholeheartedly. So when a team backs your guy 100% like that, you can see why they succeed, and I think that's why they haven't succeeded yet with what's his name there in Philly. Am I
Who?
forgetting?
Carson Wentz?
Carson Wentz. Thank you. Why they haven't necessarily succeeded 100% with him is because, at least this past year, is maybe they don't believe in him 100%.
It's not that, dude. He's. I mean, they don't want to say he's injury prone because the last one was a concussion and it was on a dirty hit, I think, that he took, and
Yeah, with Clowney, yeah.
and he had effects from that. But so I won't say he's injury prone, but what I will say, he's not averse to playing in a lot of games for one reason or another.
Yeah, and this last season was his first full season.
Mm-hmm.
But that year that they went to the Super Bowl and he got hurt, he was having an MVP season.
He was having an MVP season. That's the year that could have been for Carson Wentz, man.
Yeah, and then because he got hurt those last 3 games? Three games. It was Tom Brady's to take.
Yep. So, I don't know. And the thing about Nick Foles too, man, real quick, going back to Nick Foles, did he get beat out by Gardner Minshew? Because
we got hurt first,
and then Gardner Minshew played his ass off, and
Gardner mania happened.
And then he went back down to earth as a rookie, and he started making rookie mistakes. And then when Foles was ready, they put Foles back in. But I feel like Foles is more I don't know, like a mental thing with him, man. Like I feel like when he was healthy and they kept Minshew out there, like that took a brute, like it bruised his ego maybe, but I don't want to call it ego because I don't think he has ego. I think it's more like these guys don't believe in me kind of deal, you know. And I don't think that brings out the best in him. So maybe a change of scenery is good for him.
Maybe,
but I don't know. And the other thing too is like he needs to have. I think any quarterback needs to have some sort of continuity with the coach to be successful. You know.
Yeah. Who's the coach in Chicago? Cutter. Cutter. Yeah. So I think Cutter's a good coach. I don't think Cutter's a bad coach. I just think Trubisky doesn't have the talent that Cutter needs.
Dude, did you see some of those Mitch Trubisky games, dude, towards the end of the year, man?
They're bad, dude.
Dude, that dude couldn't hit the freaking broadside of a barn, dude. He was so inaccurate, man. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was bad. But I think Nick Foles could make certain throws that he can. I need to see consistency. I need to see it for a full season, because every time he's had those, even the year after he won the Super Bowl, he got a couple games in the playoffs and almost beat the damn Northern Saints.
If they get the new seventh playoff spot, and then he gets hot, or maybe not even gets hot, he just game manages and they win a championship.
Because that's a good defense.
Is he a great quarterback?
No.
He's a
great quarterback. I don't think Eli's a great quarterback.
2 Super Bowls.
Eli has 2 Super Bowls. I don't think he's a great quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback. Always backed up by the defense. And this Chicago defense is elite. The Chicago defense is elite. So I mean, if he makes it, good on him, man. And if he wins it, when I talk about Nick Foles, I don't call him Nick Foles. I don't even know why I called him that. I call him Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles because that's what he is. Because I have a supervisor at my last job. He's a huge Eagles fan, but when Carson Wentz was coming back, he's like they're not gonna start Nick Foles. They're gonna start Carson Wentz. I'm like, hey, you need to put respect on Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles. That's Super Bowl MVP.
My brother's best friend is a Eagles fan, and he's the same way. Wentz got to get in there. We're like, dude, Foles won y'all the championship, man. What y'all doing? Y'all messing with it, man. Y'all messing with it.
Super Bowl MVP, bro. That's his name. That's his full name. Super Bowl MVP Nick Foles.
I changed my name to that.
All right, next up. They also got Jimmy Graham, but Jimmy Graham is on the decline of his career.
Mm-hmm. He's still serviceable. He's still serviceable.
It's another set of hands that Nick Foles can. And I think he's one of those guys that he's not going to necessarily get open consistently, but when you throw to him, I think he's going to catch the ball.
Yeah, well, I mean, I look at like somebody like a Benjamin Watson and how long they've lasted in their career at tight end. Mm-hmm. As long as they're not taking huge hits like Gronk, because Gronk used to take some huge hits, man.
I know, man. Yeah,
I feel like Jimmy Graham still got some more years left in.
Yes. All right. So I'm just going on the list. So the Bengals they signed DJ Reader to a gigantic contract, which I think is a mistake. It's a lot of money for a nose tackle.
Yeah, but dude, he was. So I mean, I guess it is, and I guess the question is, what is a top nose tackle
Yeah.
worth? Because
Yeah.
he was a top 5 nose tackle last year.
Mm-hmm.
So if your defense is nose tackle heavy and relies on it, and you want the best, I mean, DJ Reader is one of the best. He's top 5. He proved it last year.
Yeah.
So how much is that worth to you and your defense? You know?
Yeah. That's true. I don't necessarily know. I hear 53 million for a nose tackle. And I don't like it. Let me see. It's over 4 years. So it is over an extended amount of time. So maybe
So
that helps.
so 4 years.
I don't have the guaranteed.
So 4 years, 53 million. You said.
Yeah.
So you're looking at approximately.
It's over 10 million.
It's 13.25.
Jesus Christ. Good on him though. I'm not mad at him.
Yeah, I obviously, whenever I was a Texans fan, wanted him to stay because he's a big part of it, and also, I mean, he was just really disruptive in the middle, man, and he did his job very well.
Absolutely, great run stopper.
Yeah, and the rest of the line, always had good things to say about him, especially JJ Watt. He loved that guy. So I wanted him to stay, but I knew he was going to get paid. I didn't think he was going to get paid that much. Like that's a lot, but I thought he was going to make around 10, 11, somewhere around there. And the way that the Texans cap is set up by their awesome GM, they just don't have any cap space. So,
Nice dig. And another thing that was interesting, because a lot of people were wondering what was going to happen with AJ Green. They did place the franchise tag on him, and I think that's to give Joe Burrow, if he can stay healthy, if AJ Green can stay healthy, it gives Joe Burrow a veteran receiver to throw to.
Man, that is such hot garbage right there, man.
About him getting franchise tagged?
Yeah, dude. So
it's just the health, man.
Dude, first of all, AJ Green has been healthy since like week 3 of last season. I had him on my fantasy team, and I kept up with it. I checked out the bloggers and everybody from Cincinnati, and basically AJ Green said, "I'm not gonna play until you give me a contract," and they did not give him a contract. So he kept saying, "Oh, I'm hurt. Oh, I'm hurt. Oh, I'm hurt." And why? Like in my mind, why would you keep that guy there, man? Why would you keep him in your locker room? Why would you keep him in the part of the franchise when? If that was true, why didn't you just pay him last year, get him under contract, and then he would have played last year? Maybe I would have had a chance at something, But you didn't, and you let him nurse his ankle or whatever it was that he hurt. I think he had a broken leg or something. I don't remember. But he milked last year. He got paid for last year for doing nothing, and then you're franchising him and getting him paid as a top 10 wide receiver when he wasn't healthy at all last year as far as playing. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man. I just feel like it's a bad precedent. But again, the Bengals aren't the best run organization either.
No, they're not.
So it is what it is.
Yeah, no one's ever accused the Bengals of making the smartest of decisions. All right, moving on to another big move that I was actually kind of surprised with. Cleveland Browns signing Austin Hooper, star tight end, great tight end. Going to the Browns, giving Baker Mayfield another set of hands to throw to. The question is, can he get the ball to him?
That's the $1 million question, man.
That's all I had. That's the only question, right?
Can Baker Mayfield do what he's supposed to do with? I mean, who does he have now? Hooper, Odell Beckham, and he has who's the other one? Jarvis Landry.
Jarvis Landry and Njoku. Who's that other? They have another receiver that's actually really good that I like. I can't remember his name. Hold on, I'm actually gonna pull that up because that's gonna drive me crazy. There's another receiver that's really good that has big potential.
Oh yeah, the big guy. He's a big fast.
I can't remember his name. Yeah, what the hell is his name? God damn it! Here we go. Depth chart. Receiver.
DJ Montgomery?
No. Why is it not here? Holy crap. I don't know. Maybe he left.
Maybe he did leave. But I know who you're talking about.
Name? Yeah, right. What the hell is his name?
I had him on my team.
I did too. Man, I am blanking.
Let me see.
Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham. It's not Ratley. What the hell was his name? Antonio Callaway. God damn.
Callaway. Oh, they cut him, dude.
That they cut him. I liked Callaway a
Yeah,
lot.
no, that's not the guy I was talking about.
Oh, were you talking about Ratley?
No, I was talking about the other guy. What's
Or
the other guy?
Taylor?
Nope, the other guy, Montgomery, DJ Montgomery.
DJ Montgomery? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a wide receiver. Callaway's a wide receiver for the Tampa Bay Vipers in the XFL now.
I like Callaway. All right. Moving on to the Cowboys. Signing Amari Cooper to the big contract, $100 million deal, $60 million guaranteed. But because of that, they franchise tagged Dak Prescott. They also signed Clinton Dix to a little deal and re-signed Blake Jarwin to a 3-year deal, which I think is a good idea. Blake Jarwin's one of those guys that's up and comer tight end.
I mean, I think that Dallas was always going to do this one way or another. They weren't going to be able to get both deals done, so they basically. I'm pretty sure, and I think they did send out a deal to Dak Prescott, and it got leaked, and they were arguing about who leaked what. But they were either going to sign Prescott, and they sent him a deal, and they sent Cooper a deal, and whoever signed first, they were gonna franchise the other if they couldn't get it done. That's exactly what happened. Like at the same time, man, like it kind of sucks for them from a standpoint where they got to pay Zeke, they got to pay Cooper, and they got to pay Dak, but those guys are legit top guys at their position. Go ahead. And your role as a GM and as an owner is to keep those guys, happy and keep those guys paid, because they're the ones who drive the franchise forward, and they're the ones that are at the top of the franchise that are making the plays. Yes, it's a team effort, but the team effort becomes a lot less stress and easier when you have double teams on Amari Cooper, or when you have 8 men in the box because of Zeke that leaves Cooper open, and you have a guy like Dak Prescott that can find them, be accurate with the ball, and also use his feet if he has to. He doesn't really, but if he has to, he can use him. He's a mobile quarterback in that sense, where he's not just a statue back there. So I applaud that. I mean, as much as I give hate to Jerry Jones and how dumb he is on some situations, he kept the guys that he wanted in house, and he paid the money for it.
Yeah, and I said it before that this is very reminiscent of that old Cowboys team. You have Troy Aikman, you had Mike Orban, you had Emmitt Smith. Now look at this: you have Dak Prescott, you have Mike Orban, you have Amari Cooper, and you have Ezekiel Elliott. You have the three things that you had last time that you won the Super Bowl. So,
what was Amari Cooper traded for?
A first rounder.
A first round pick. Gotcha.
Stop. You're gonna make me mad. You're gonna piss me off before we get there. Just save it.
I just want to know what he was trading for, man. That's all I was asking. I mean, he's a top wide receiver.
You're doing the Skip Bayless thing.
Top wide receiver traded for a first round pick, and then we just heard Stephon Diggs was a top wide receiver traded for a first round pick. So I'm just trying to.
No, sorry. You're doing the Shannon Sharp thing. And I'm gonna start doing what Skip Bayless does and goes, I don't know
what it was.
And then you're gonna be like, yeah, you do. We're gonna start acting like that. I don't care. You're gonna start calling me Skip.
Skip.
I love them. I don't love them. I don't love them because of their sports commentary. I just love their dynamic.
Their banter.
I love it. It's the best. But yeah, so. I think as soon as you heard Dak Prescott, when it kept getting pushed further back that Dak wasn't getting his contract, it was starting to become very clear that he was going to be the one getting franchised, and Amari was probably going to get the big deal. So it gives them another year to get this deal done. I wouldn't panic, as some people are saying that this is a bad thing, franchising Dak. I think that. It can be a bad thing, but I think that if they can keep in contact with Dak and try to keep him happy, figure it out.
It's a bad thing. Okay. It's a bad thing. You can keep Dak happy all you want. He's not going to be as happy as if he had a long-term contract. And
Obviously.
and on top of that, he can be happy or sad. It's going to be the agent that's going to be advising him what to do. And so this is like really bad for them. That's what I'm telling you. Like, I applaud them for doing it because they kept them in house, but it's going to cost them a shitload of money. And the reason I say that is because Dak Prescott is in the position that um, Kirk Cousins was in, and he's way better. He's a way better quarterback than Kirk Cousins. So Kirk Cousins got by far, like if you look back at the last 5 years, who's had the most guaranteed money? I think Kirk Cousins is on there because he got tagged twice,
Mhm.
and then he got a guaranteed deal from the Vikings. So he's in the same. Prescott is in the same driver's seat that Kirk Cousins was in, except that he's Dak Prescott. So he's gonna, like, now every conversation has to come with you have to go above and beyond. I think it's gonna be 38 million or 40 million guaranteed. Is already like, that's a non-starter, because if he gets franchised this year, I think it's like close to 20 million or something, and the next year it goes up to like 20 or yeah 23 or something like that. Like, it goes up by 25%. So that's 40 million guaranteed basically that he already has in his pocket. Dak Prescott has. So you have to guarantee him above and beyond that for him to sign a long-term deal, and that is all the leverage he needed. Like, if it's me, I try to get the deal done with Dak and then franchise the wide receiver, because wide receivers, one, they probably get injured more than quarterbacks do. So if you franchise Amari Cooper and let's say he gets hurt, you can get a friendlier deal because he's coming off an injury. For somebody like a Prescott, he's gonna get this money guaranteed. He's stayed healthy for the most part. I mean, you just gave him. He has the same type of leverage that Tunsil has here in Houston, and more, because they're both super important pieces to a team. And Prescott, I'm telling you right now, dude, he's gonna end up being one of the highest paid quarterbacks because of the leverage he has, and that's to say, like, Mahomes isn't about to have that leverage. Right? Did Mahomes sign already?
Not yet.
But Mahomes still has 1 year under his deal, right?
Yeah, this is his 4th year on his deal. So this is the last year of his deal. Normally the extension would have already been taken care of. I don't know if maybe they're just trying to get some
Well, no, remember that
stuff.
the year started later because they were trying to do the new collective bargaining.
Yeah.
So I anticipate he'll get signed, but he doesn't have the leverage that Prescott's going to have because he still has 1 year under his contract. So Dak Prescott might end up getting paid more than Mahomes eventually.
It depends on who gets paid more. I mean, gets paid first though.
That's not true, because
it's going to be because Mahomes just won a Super Bowl.
I know, dude, but Mahomes has a year under his contract. So if he signs right now, let's say he signs. I mean, what's the richest contract right now? The what's his name from Seattle? Russell Wilson contract?
It's either him or Wentz. I don't remember.
Russell Wilson, 70 million.
Okay.
Guaranteed. Right? So let's say you pay Mahomes 75, right? Let me see this. 75 million guaranteed, right? So franchise tag. The franchise tag for QB in 2020 is $31.5 million, dude. That's guaranteed. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on. Okay, well, I'm sorry. It's 26.8. It's what they're projecting. 26.8. So 26 million times 0.25 is 6.5 million. So 32 plus 26. So in 2 years, he can make $58 million guaranteed. Right? So let's say at the end of that, he signs a long-term contract with 70 million guaranteed.
Yeah.
That means he made $128 million guaranteed, which is more than a contract for Patrick Mahomes, because he has the leverage, because he was a second-round pick, right? He was a second-round pick, not a first-round pick. Or if he was like a fourth-round pick or something.
He's a 4th-round pick.
Yeah, so they don't have that extra year on him. So he has all the leverage, dude. So right now, the way things are looking, if Mahomes signs this offseason, mark it down, dude. I think Dak Prescott's gonna end up making more money than Mahomes.
I was agreeing with you. I
You said,
said it would depend, if Mahomes got paid first, Dak was gonna get the most money.
well,
I don't necessarily agree that he'll get the most. I think if Dak gets paid first, however, like if they're able to get a deal done before Mahomes does, Mahomes will just say, "I want this much," and they're gonna throw the money at him because he just won the Super Bowl.
well,
He's
I mean,
projected to win more Super Bowls.
yeah, but it just depends. Like I get what you're saying, but what Dak basically already signed because he's on the franchise tag, and then he's probably not gonna sign a deal right now. So he's already locked up for 1 year, and Mahomes doesn't have to sign right now.
He can wait till the end of the year.
He can, and then that's when he would get the leverage because he still wouldn't have as much leverage because they'll franchise him. But that means he would have wasted this 1 year playing for peanuts, basically. You know, because he would be playing for on the 5th year, which is the average of the top 10. Or hold on, what? Yeah, he was a top 10 pick, right?
No, he was the 11th, or was he the 10th? Where was Deshaun drafted? Because he was 2 picks before.
He was like 15.
So then he was 13. He was 13 or 12. He wasn't top 10 though.
Let me see. He was the 10th pick.
The 10th. Okay, I thought it was. So then that means Watson was 12.
Yeah, 12.
Because the Texans jumped up in the draft to get him.
Yeah, so I think he will get the average of the top 10 players, which I mean it's not a lot. I mean,
check what Dak got for his franchise. Did you see?
Huh?
What did Dak get for his franchise?
The projection is 26.8 million.
26.8, which is like what, 5 million less than what he was offered.
30. He was offered. I think they said they offered him. No, I think they said they offered him 33 a year.
33.
Yeah,
about 7 million less.
And he turned that down.
Because then he want like 35.
Yeah, I think they said he was trying to get up to 40 or something.
Yeah. So,
I mean, it's America's team, man. You should have America's money.
He did say. Remember, what's his name? Jerry Jones did say, you wouldn't believe the check, the blank check I would write for a Super Bowl. He needs to prove it. But that's why there's a cap. That's why there's a cap. This isn't MLB. This is the MLB. All right, I'm just gonna look real quick to see if there's anything else worth talking about, and then we're gonna jump into it.
All right.
I don't. The only big one I think I don't even really want to talk about it much. Just kind of point out that good move from the Philadelphia Eagles picking up Darius Slay.
That was a good move.
They really needed help in the secondary. That secondary is so bad. They could have got anybody. They could have got Eli Apple, and it would have been an improvement on what they had.
Well, I mean, that's always a silver lining when your defense is so bad the previous year that anything is better than what you had. I mean, the Texans, whenever we had that horrible O-line, dude, anything was going to be better than that, coming into the next year.
Yeah. True. Also, big move from the Indianapolis Colts getting DeForest Buckner.
They did?
Yeah, man. They traded for him. Traded their first round pick to the San Francisco 49ers.
A first round pick, you say?
Stop. Yeah, DeForest Buckner. And then they gave him a $21 million per season contract. I don't have the years. But yeah, so basically they just made their defense even better, and that defense is already really good. And then picking up Phillip Rivers, as we've mentioned earlier, too.
So they're trying to compete, is what you're saying. They're trying to win a championship.
Yeah, obviously.
By adding great players.
They have a pretty good run team, don't they? Yeah, it's impressive what you could do when you have smart people in that front office.
Smart? You just need competent people that don't get fleeced, that can understand when they're getting fleeced.
Not stupid. Me, I guess. All right, so let's jump into it. Have you ever looked at a team?
All
Have
right,
you
I've
ever?
held back long enough. Let's jump into
All
it.
right. So, how many times have you, as a sports fan, looked at a team and was like, I could do better than that? But it's not. You're not actually. You don't actually believe you could do better. You're just like you're talking trash. You're saying like I could have done. I could have made a better move than that, or I could have done this and blah blah. It's you just talking shit to talk shit. I think I could actually do a better job than Bill O'Brien.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's difficult to do,
Not
honestly.
coaching. Not coaching.
No,
I'm not a great coach.
no, I'm not saying that. You're talking about as a GM.
As a GM, I could have at least got a first rounder for DeAndre Hopkins.
Look, man. Here's the deal. Here's the deal. You say that about how many people think that they can do better than the GM or whatever. And if I'm being honest, man, those people at GMs, they've just had, either that was their career path or they've had a long time in football, or they know people, or they interview well or whatever, and they become GMs. Because in baseball, for example, Jeff Lunau was a consultant. He wasn't even in baseball. And the way he got to become a general manager and create a great team was because he kept winning on fantasy baseball. And in the league that he was in, one of the guys was the what is it called, son-in-law of somebody in the St. Louis Cardinals organization. And they brought him in, and they made, so what I'm saying is there's people out there that are good at being GMs, and they're not GMs. They're in everyday life or whatever. But I can tell you there's a guy on Kirby Street here in Houston that's a GM that has no business being a GM, man. He just has no business being a GM. He did not get he traded away Jadeveon Clowney, and he traded away DeAndre Hopkins, and he didn't get a first round pick for none of them, either one of them. And now on the flip side of that, he traded for Laramie Tunsil and Kenny Stills, and he gave away a first round pick. Now, if you look at those four players, out of those four players, which ones do you think deserve a first round pick? I can tell you Laramie Tunsil's on there, but he's not.
David Johnson, for sure.
But he's not ahead of DeAndre Hopkins, and I would say it's kind of a watch between him and Clowney, because Clowney's so disruptive on the defensive side of the ball. So he just doesn't understand. And they said this last year whenever he was starting to make GM moves, when they messed up the whole what is the guy, Easterman, or whoever the guy was from the Patriots that they wanted to sign as GM. Whenever that went down and he started making these moves, he doesn't understand the value of a contract associated with the player. Like, he gave up too much for Duke Johnson. Duke Johnson was at most like a 5th or 6th or 7th round pick because they were trying to get rid of that contract, and he gave him a 3rd round pick, I think, right, to get him.
Yeah.
And that's just ridiculous, man. No other GM in the league would have done that. So the Browns were happy to say, sure, give us a 3rd round pick for this guy that we were going to probably cut. And he's done that multiple times. Now, here's what I will give him credit for. He can find pieces of scrap on the scrap heap and make them into something like a Bradley Roby. I think did he sign? He did sign Matthew, right? Tyrann Mathieu.
Yeah, he signed Tyrann Mathieu.
So I would give him that. But making trades and mortgaging the future, it's beyond him. Like, he has no concept of what a good deal is. And him, and there's an article out there. I'm gonna have to find it. I'm gonna have to retweet it. There was a journalist inside a NFC East team. I think NFC East, or for sure NFC team, and he was there with them while they were planning their scouting and their free agency and all this stuff, right? So he was embedded with them to kind of get a feel for how they're doing. He was gonna do a write up on them. And when the news broke of what we got for DeAndre Hopkins, the whole room, he said, erupted in laughter. In laughter, man. In laughter. So this guy, Bill O'Brien, is what a dumb man's version of a good GM is. This guy is not a good GM. This guy has all the power. Cal McNair, man, I'm sorry, dude, but this guy, Cal McNair, allowing O'Brien to convince him that he's a good GM and that he's doing good things for the franchise. Basically, O'Brien is Chip Kelly version 2.0, and he's just trading away all our good people. I mean, the Clowney trade is so stupid, dude. If you break down the Clowney trade, we traded him for a third round pick. That if he would have stayed with the Texans and then leaves and signs somewhere else, we would have gotten a third round pick. So you would have gotten another year out of him. And instead, you trade him for nothing, and you don't have him on your roster to help your team. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous, dude. Like, he does not understand value of contracts, value of players for your organization. And this didn't. I can tell you right now, this didn't go well in the locker room. You saw a lot of people tweeting in the locker room,
Yep.
and they're being muted. They're muzzled. You know, they're also muzzled, and we're still hearing them, you know, loud and clear on what they're saying. And you're also seeing ex players. There's 3 ex players that have come out full force, especially after the news broke that he had some sort of contentious relationship with DeAndre Hopkins because he brought him in and compared him to Aaron Hernandez, and that he didn't approve or he was judging him on his lifestyle, and that he has several children from different mothers. And it's just a bad look, man. And this guy needs to be fired, man. I don't like him. I haven't liked him for a long time. He thinks he's you know, God's gift to football or something, or to the Texans. And he's just, there's no accountability, man. There's no accountability. Cal McNair needs to be held accountable as well for ruining this franchise. And again, I say it, you know, I say it, I'm emotional about it. I'm frustrated about it. But man, this is one of the most ridiculous trades that anybody could have made in a long time. You have a guy who's, I just looked at the fantasy football standings, and that doesn't mean a lot, but just to give you an example, I think he was number 5 last year in production in fantasy football. Right, so that would arguably say, you know, he's top 5 wide receiver, and a lot of people say he's probably top 2 or 3 because of the type of catches he makes, and most of his catches are for first downs on third down. He's a big third down guy, and he's just so. And he's been. I mean, he's not a diva. He hasn't acted up. He hasn't said anything. He's shown up to work. Everything, you know, and he's still in the contract for basically 3 more years, even though it's not guaranteed, and he wants a new contract, but he's still in the contract for 3 years, and you trade him. And you don't get a first round pick out of it, man. You don't get a first round pick, and that just shows right there that that's personal emotions coming into it. That's not a savvy business. He's worth so much more because he's under contract. Like, they can force him to play. You're under contract, or you're not going to play. You know, they'll fine even. And the other thing, under this new agreement, the fines that you get while you're holding out are not reimbursable. So you're gonna get those fines, and you're gonna have to pay them. How long will they hold out now when they know that they're not going to get those $1 million checks back? You know, everything was in favor of the organization as opposed to the players, and you still traded them for peanuts, man. And you got, and in return, you got a back who hasn't been healthy, who got beat out by Kenyon Drake, who they traded for a 5th round pick or a 6th round pick, I said, and you took on his albatross of a contract and didn't get Arizona to pay some of it for you. That's ridiculous, man. That's like stupidity times 2. I didn't think it's possible, but you didn't get a first round pick for Hopkins, and in return, you got an albatross of a contract for a easily breakable back, and you didn't get them to pay for it. I mean, dude, if there's a school for GMs out there, that's GMing 101. You get top dollar for your wide receivers or for your top players, right? We just talked about Stephon Diggs. Right after that, what did Minnesota get from? Like a 1st, a 2nd, a 4th. Like they got a fucking huge haul for him when he's also coming up for a contract. Or did he just sign a contract or something? I don't even know. But the contract situations aren't the same, and Hopkins is worth more than Diggs, and you didn't get that. Secondly, Amari Cooper was traded, was it last year or the year before, for a 1st round pick as well, and at that time, people were saying that you know, Jerry Jones overspent on that. But now, looking back at his production and what he's done for the Cowboys, that was a very earned 1st round pick. Like, that was worth it. But you got a 2nd round pick for DeAndre Hopkins, man. A 2nd round pick, man. I just can't believe it, man. And on top of it, he was such an integral part to the team, to the offense. He was Deshaun Watson's favorite wide receiver to throw to. They had a great chemistry, and now you took that all the way because you think you're Bill Belichick when you're worse than Chip Kelly, basically.
And you hit the nail right on the coffin right there when you just said that. He thinks he's Bill Belichick. And you're starting to see it now with Matt Patricia too. These guys that are coming up from underneath Bill Belichick, they think they have the same type of pedigree and gravitas that they bring because they coached underneath Bill Belichick, when that's not the case. These guys haven't earned the right to treat the players that they treat the way. Darius Slay just came out and said that basically about Matt Patricia. We heard it just recently from DeAndre Hopkins about Bill O'Brien, and this has been known because Clowney said the same thing basically too after he got
Dwayne Brown.
And Dwayne Brown. So every single player, Andre Johnson had a problem with him. He left. Dwayne Brown had an issue with Bill O'Brien. He got traded for nothing. Clowney had a problem with him. Got traded for nothing. And now, because apparently DeAndre Hopkins would call him out basically and say like that the decisions that he made in game and on off the field were not to the level that the talent was in that locker room. That talent, there's so much talent on this team. And I feel like we say that all the time about the Texans, especially under Bill O'Brien. There's always so much talent. But the coaching is so lower level that you can't do anything with it. And then you give that guy basically free reign over an entire locker room to do anything he wants, unchecked, able to trade Clowney for peanuts, able to trade DeAndre Hopkins for peanuts, for basically nothing, not even close. And then later on that day, Stephon Diggs gets traded for a first-round pick. And there's not a soul that can tell me that Stephon Diggs is a better wide receiver than DeAndre Hopkins. It's fucking ridiculous. I feel like I'm a New York Knicks fan. Like that's what it feels like with Jamie.
And here's the other thing too, man. Like, and I'll go more into the personal stuff on this stuff too. Like, I got a friend who he's still gonna be a Texans fan. And another thing too, I hated on Barry Laminack from 97.5 here in Houston. Probably like I forgot when it was, at the end of this year. Yeah, at the end of the year when they lost the big come from a head loss by 24 points to the Chiefs. He said that he was never going to be a Texans fan until Bill O'Brien left. And at that time I was like, man, that's ridiculous, man. Like, they're doing decent. They could have won this one. You know, they had some limitations on defense, you know, whatever. And I thought that was wrong for him to do that, and I thought that was a clown move. But after this move, I'm like, nah, man, I can't willfully cheer for a team that has that guy as their head coach and their GM when he's making stupid moves like that. And he's just like, I don't see it. And then he signs Randall Cobb and he gives him all this guaranteed money. Give that guaranteed money to D-Hop to make him happy and keep him on the damn roster. That's what I'm saying. Like, Jerry Jones signed Cooper and Dak Prescott, and he's spending a lot of money to keep them happy to try to win a championship. Bill O'Brien ain't doing none of that. So I've made my personal decision. I don't care what anybody thinks about it. I'm boycotting the Texans until Bill O'Brien is no longer part of the organization. I don't like him. I don't like his methodology. I don't like him trading away our players and not getting anything for it. And the thing about it is, if he was more showed some sort of remorse, I guess. I don't even know remorse is the right word, but like, okay, I messed that up. But you can't challenge this dude. This dude thinks he's the smartest person in the world and he's making all the right decisions. And he's never said, oh, okay, I messed up. No, it's all, because that's exactly what we wanted to do. Well, you wanted to be made fun of? Hey, you got it, man. You want to lose fans? Hey, you got it, because you're going to lose fans. That's the other thing, man. People need to vote with their wallets, man. Mm-hmm. Cal McNair needs to realize that this guy is not good for business. And then I think Mike Melcher, too, who is a guy here locally that was on the radio for a long time, he said that even though Bill O'Brien's made these moves, he still thinks it's better than what Rick Smith would do as a GM. And I said, there's no way in hell, man. Mm-hmm. There's no way in hell. As bad as Rick Smith was, and he was bad on certain things, and also not paying certain players and bringing in idiots like Ed Reed or whatever, he would not get fleeced for DeAndre Hopkins for he would not. He just would not, because it's GMing 101. That's what I'm saying.
There's not I don't think there's a GM that would have done what he did. And here, like, I think I heard that, I don't know how true it is, but that He was going to go down the list of teams by alphabetical order. He he listened to the Arizona Cardinals pitch and said done. Like didn't call anybody else.
He didn't call
Like,
the Bears. That was too far low on his list, or what? He
couldn't make he didn't get
Chargers.
He heard the first offer and was like, "I'll take it."
Man,
Like it's just ridiculous.
You know what I want for it to be petty, dude? I want like the Chargers or whoever was next in line and say, "Hey, man, we would have given 2 first-round picks." Just to say it, just to put it out there, just to fuck with him for being such an idiot, man.
Like, so this is the reason why I bring up the Knicks is because the reason why the Knicks are having so many problems is because of their owner, James Dolan. And the reason why James Dolan doesn't change anything is because fans still go to games. And that's why I just like you, as soon as this happened, I said, and you know what? And when I woke up and I saw DeAndre Hopkins traded, but the details weren't released yet, I was like, if we get a first-round pick, I'm going to be upset, but I can live with it. I can live with it just because, like, fine, it happened. Like it happened. If we can get a first-round pick or more than that, because Khalil Mack got 2 first-round picks. I was like, fine, whatever. And then you see it's the second-round pick, and it's just it's insulting to not only to Texans fans but to DeAndre Hopkins. I was like, I can't cheer for a team that is run by Bill O'Brien and is owned by Cal McNair. Like, until this team, whichever one comes first, he sells or Bill O'Brien's fired, I won't be a fan of this team. I won't watch the Texans game this year.
Man, and I can just tell you, there's a lot of fans that I know that have said the same thing. It's going to be difficult because obviously we have to watch other teams, and I mean, we don't really have to, but if you're a fan of the NFL and you have fantasy football, you're going to have to watch another team. And it just sucks, man, because they're your hometown team and they're being run to the ground by this guy who thinks he's everything, man, and he doesn't take any sort of accountability for it. And you're right, man. He just like James Dolan in New York, man. They traded Kristaps Porzingis, dude. Why would you trade Kristaps Porzingis when he's coming off an injury, when his value is super low? You know what I mean? And like when you said, if they would have gotten a first round pick, I would have still been upset. I would have still been upset because he put himself in that position not to have picks. And on top of it, he better sign Tunsil, dude. If he doesn't sign Tunsil, how much picks and draft capital did you waste on him? And now Tunsil has all the leverage in the world. You know what I mean? And if I'm Tunsil, why would I even sign here, man? I don't want to sign with Bill O'Brien, dude.
I'm anybody, I'm not signing with Bill O'Brien.
Well, there's conflicting rumors going around that there was another DB that wanted to sign with the Texans, and he reached out to some Texans players in the locker room, and they told him no, like don't do it, and he went somewhere else. But at the same time, Bradley Roby re-signed with us. This was before the trade with the Texans. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I guess it's one of those things. If you're on his good side, it's good to be here, and if you're on his bad side, or he judges you because you're not morally up to his standards, then he'll ship you out real quick.
And you know what the sad part is, man? Because Deshaun Watson is so good, this team is still going to win games, which means that Cal McNair is going to think nothing's wrong.
Yep.
And nothing's going to change. That's why I want fans. Cancel your regular season. I mean, cancel your season tickets. Cancel whatever you can. Don't go to games. Go to XFL. You know how crazy that would be if more people went to an XFL game than a Texans game. Dude, it'd be insane.
I would love it. I would welcome it. Another thing, real quick. I don't know if you've heard too that the Texans put out a statement that was kind of unprecedented about this trade. Where they said that they haven't had a chance to, it's still pending physicals.
Oh, because they get to see if David Johnson passes. Because we already know DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, well, what they're saying is that they realized all the backlash and that Bill O'Brien wanted to put out that statement, but now they're saying that he's doing it because you can't renege on the deal. Like it's gonna happen, but you can't change the compensation like they did with the Clowney trade because that guy Lane didn't pass a physical.
Yeah,
so what they're saying, that's what he's trying to do now that he realizes that he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Because they call him the teapot. The teapot is boiling until it blows. He probably blew his his teapot or whatever, and made this stupid decision at the last minute because he was upset.
Mm-hmm.
So
he's like when Jerry Jones fired
Jimmy Johnson.
Jimmy Johnson because Jimmy Johnson didn't raise his glass during a toast. Literally
Mhm.
walked out the restaurant, saw some reporters like, hey, I got a story for you. I'm gonna fire Jimmy Johnson.
Mhm.
And that's how that happened because someone doesn't know how to control their emotions, and that's what Bill O'Brien is, man.
Freaking ego, man.
Yeah, then the problem is Bill. At least Jerry Jones put a team together. Fucking what the hell has Bill O'Brien done?
Not a damn thing.
It's just ridiculous, man. Please, fans, if you're upset about this, show the Texans that you're upset about this by dipping out of taking money out their wallet. That's the only way.
Don't rob them, but like
don't rob them, but just don't give them your money. Like, don't spend your hard-earned money on them. Go to more Rockets games.
And it's gonna be difficult, man, because every week you're gonna see a top 10 play of Deshaun Watson eluding a sack because Laremy Tunsil didn't resign, and he's gonna throw this marvelous ball in the air, and just by some luck, Randall Cobb is gonna be open, and he's gonna catch it and then go down, and it's gonna be in a loss. It might even be in a win. I don't know, but look away.
Is Randall Cobb gonna catch it though?
I said he was going to be wide open. It's only when he's wide open.
You're right. It's when he catches punt returns.
Dude, I can't believe it, dude. I can't believe Nuke is not going to be a Houston Texan anymore.
Yeah, man. It's sad. I never thought there's two things that I never thought that I would see the day, or I guess three, and it comes from all three Houston teams. I never thought I would see the day where I would prefer Carlos Correa over Alex Bregman. I never thought that there would be a day that I would see Russell Westbrook in a Rockets jersey.
That's true.
And I never thought that there would be a day that DeAndre Hopkins would not be wearing a Texans jersey.
But you know what? In fairness,
I'm an Arizona Cardinals fan.
Andre Johnson was supposed to be a Texan for life, and he wasn't.
Absolutely.
And also, in that sense, the coach made the right decision because Andre Johnson had lost a step already.
Yeah. And they had just got DeAndre.
But I don't think DeAndre's lost any step at all.
He's in his prime, dude. He's in his prime. We don't have anybody to replace him. Will Fuller can't stay on the field for 16 games, let alone 14 games. Kenny Stills, I love Kenny Stills, but he's not that level of talent. We don't have a first round pick to get a Jerry Jeudy or get a dude, imagine if we would have got Arizona Cardinals #1 pick, where they're gonna get CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy, and then we're getting CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy. God, I prefer Jerry.
But I'll tell you right now, I don't think Cardinals make that trade for the first round pick.
I don't either, because they're like they only made that trade because
it's a second round pick.
They're not making that trade otherwise, man. Like they probably would have just cut David Johnson or kept it on for a year.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like, you idiot, if you waited, you could have had Todd Gurley for peanuts.
He can't stay healthy either, though.
It's David Johnson, the same guy. It's the same guy.
I know. But the Rams aren't. Well, yeah, you're right. You could just sign them for a veteran minimum.
You sign them, and you don't have this long-term contract of David Johnson, man.
How much did Gurley sign for?
Sign like.
Oh, they haven't released it yet.
I think it was $10 million.
Oh, okay, they don't have it here. I got to refresh this page.
Maybe $6 million. Let me double check.
They haven't updated this page yet. Oh man! All right, well, go Roughnecks. Go Roughnecks.
Go Roughnecks.
Go Steelers. Go Cardinals. I'll be a Cardinals fan because I actually really like Kyler. I like Kyler Murray a lot, and I was the whole time I was saying, all of a sudden they can use that first round pick on an offensive lineman. God damn.
Well, I'm a Bucs fan. Go Tom Brady. Go 40-something-year-old Tom Brady and
Chris Godwin.
And Mike Evans. I have liked Mike Evans since he was at A&M. And I've liked the Buccaneers since when we didn't have a team here in Houston. So now I'm hoping whenever we can travel, I will travel to Tampa Bay to go watch a game because that is on my bucket list to see that stadium.
Yeah.
And to see the cannons shoot. So maybe when they play the Texans, if they play the Texans, I go out there.
All right, I'm gonna end it on this. Pittsburgh Steelers. If you're smart, you will call Bill O'Brien right now and get that third Watt brother. You can get him for peanuts.
All Watts, all the time.
Why not?
He'll send you a first round pick.
Wouldn't that be fun? All three Watts on the same team.
That would be hilarious, dude.
They already got Derek. TJ was very close to getting.
Well, dude, you know what would be cool if that were to happen? Watt could potentially play with both of them because he lines up at tight end sometimes, so he could play on offense and defense. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Pittsburgh Steelers, you heard it. Come on, Mike Tomlin, get on the phone.
You heard it here first.
I love Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's a great coach. That's a great coach right there.
Honestly, I didn't think he was, but then after AB left and how crazy he is, and for Tomlin to be able to manage that dude and handle him,
three quarterbacks this past year,
and still get production out of AB, I was like, okay, that dude's legit.
And then last year, they if the seventh playoff team was a thing, they would have been in the playoffs.
They would have been in the playoffs. That's true.
Who knows? Maybe they would have stole the game. Who knows? Because they would have played. They would have played the Kansas City Chiefs. That's it. Well, that would have been a good game.
Real quick, dude, before we do get off, I do want to talk about one last thing, maybe 5-10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA addressing all of these things that's going on, and they asked Adam Silver if starting the league year in December to June is now a possibility. He didn't shoot it down at all. He said everything's on the table. So I think a lot of options for leagues are starting to come up where they didn't know how to do it or how to, they didn't want to stop mid-season or something, but this is actually a perfect point for them to try new things like we talked about with WWE.
Mm-hmm.
So I fully anticipate the NBA probably scrapping this season and starting next season in December, and that will be the new normal for the NBA potentially, December to June.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing about the NFL, man. I still think, training camp is in June and July. I don't know if that's going to be possible. And then preseason starts in August. I don't know if that's going to be possible either. So they might move their stuff later too, have less training camp or something just to try to make sure they have a full season. And then that'll be the new norm too. So a lot of things are changing. A lot of things are fluid. We'll see what happens. There's no sports right now. There's no sports for the foreseeable future. I do hope that Khabib and Ferguson happens on the moon or somewhere. They're what they're talking about doing on a ship. Did you know that?
Do it. Do it. International waters, baby.
That's been floated around legitimately, not like us, like not a fans is what I'm saying, or podcasters
I like the little pun you did.
What?
It's floating around.
That was subtle.
I like it.
So we'll see, man. I hope to see, fights sooner than later. Anything really at this point. We're just watching movies and shows, and I'm catching up on Better Call Saul and other things of that nature. So we'll see how it goes, man.
Mm-hmm. I actually just purchased both NBA 2K since there's no basketball, so I'm playing NBA 2K, and I just picked up the show 20 yesterday. I'm
just playing Warzone 24/7 when I play.
I got the show because since my son's not gonna be able to watch baseball, if I just put baseball on the PS4
and let him play,
maybe he'll watch it.
Yeah, well, I've been playing COD Warzone, man. It's free. It's a battle royale. It's pretty fun. It's different from what I've been playing. So that's all I play. I don't really play sports games.
I don't normally buy the show. This is literally the only year that I ever bought the show.
Which we can have another podcast too later next week, maybe about all the stuff that corporations are doing, giving free or not free, and which ones are trying to make more money off of it. But I think I forgot who it was that it's giving away some stuff for free since people are stuck in their house. I forgot who it is. I gotta look it up.
I know Burger King, you can get one free meal a day.
Nuh-uh.
I just saw that on ABC's Twitter. I can pull it up real quick. Give me a second. Give me a second, guys. Oh, I just saw Hopkins on the front page of my Twitter.
Don't do it. Don't click it.
I'm going to click it. I'm going to click it. Because I'm going to follow DeAndre Hopkins forever. All right, let's see. Burger King offers 2 free kids meals with any meal purchased during coronavirus crisis. So if you purchase a meal, you get 2 free kids meals.
Oh, nice. Are they
Very
delivering?
good. Very nice. The offer is only for meals purchased online and on Burger King app, where you will find the coupons for the offer. Burger King says customers can redeem these coupons one time per guest every day through April 6th, or as long as supplies last. So you hit the order online. I don't know if you pick it up or if it might be like through. I don't know. I don't know how their online stuff works. Welcome to it's the Arizona Cardinals welcoming DeAndre Hopkins. Enjoy him, guys.
No, don't.
Enjoy him.
I don't want them to.
Enjoy him.
I'm petty like that.
I'm now a Cardinals fan, so you're disrespecting me.
So here's what I would say. I want DeAndre Hopkins to break all the records in the world, but I want Arizona to lose.
That's not nice. So Seth Payne on Twitter. Texans claiming that they shopped Hopkins and took the best deals. Like when I tell my wife that I looked all over the place for the best deal on anything. That's true.
Dude, Seth Payne was so mad, dude.
Yeah, he was. He was so mad.
He was like all these months of anger management is out the window right now.
Out the window. All right, man. We're gonna go ahead and call it a day.
Yeah, man, we're here for you guys. I'm gonna be posting these now that I do have time. I'm gonna take my laptop inside, post this one, the last one, and anything else I have that we haven't posted to give you guys more content.
Mm-hmm.
And check out our Patreon, check out our Twitter at Armbars Suplex. And we're gonna try to do this at least once a week. I don't know, Alec, if you're still gonna be working, maybe we could try to work some more quicker ones.
Yeah, maybe.
One thing I did see that was really cool. I'll tell you about it. Do you know who Amin El Hassan is?
Nope.
He used to be the GM for the Phoenix Suns whenever it was Nash and Shaq and Marion and Mike D'Antoni. He was their GM. He has a great Twitter. He's a great Twitter follow, and he started doing these 60 seconds with Hassan. And it's just quick hits, man. And it's basically all about basketball. So he's done 3 of them so far. He does them every day. So maybe that's the content we need, man. We need to figure out maybe a 15, 20-minute show every day, just depending on how your job is or whatever we have.
Yeah.
Just to put some content out there, man, because people ain't got nothing to do right now. So.
Yep. That's why I was dead set on doing this today, even though there's not much to talk about. I was like, we can find something. We'll find something to talk about.
We'll figure it out.
And we found 2 hours of content. So let's do it next week for sure. Next Friday, I think while I'm working, these will be the days. I'm staying up basically all night to do this. So I love you guys. Like, please keep liking. If you're watching on YouTube, like it on YouTube. If you're listening to it on SoundCloud, please make sure to download it. I don't know what else you can do. Can you rate on there? I don't know.
You can rate, like it, share it. Then follow us on YouTube. Share it on YouTube.
Keep your eye out. Yeah, and keep your eye out for the next live stream, guys, because this is a live stream. Because with StreamYard, you have to live stream. I can't just record. So it'll be a live stream. So join us live if you can. I know it's early in the morning, but it's really not that early. It's 12. It's noon. So we started at 10 o'clock. If we can start at 10 every
Wake
Friday.
up, you bums. Wake up.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, we're going to be out of here. You make sure you catch me on Twitter right there at, damn it, Alec Miller 423. And then Jesus at the real Jesus.
Yep.
How's that spelled?
JEEZUS.
There it is. All right, guys. We can catch you next week. Peace out.